Organissima, New York. Your exotic skin, hair, and beauty source, and your one-stop shop for all your natural and organic skin and hair care, featuring authentic organic Moroccan oil and prickly pear seed oil and much more. Bringing you only the best, straight from the source and proudly produced in the USA. So what are you waiting for? Shop today at www.organissima.com. Organissima, New York. Your beauty is our duty. Organissima, New York.
All right, folks, welcome back to the Eye Health channel, the Beauty channel, the FinFat channel, and Eye Health Radio. So a lot of channels, a lot of feeds, a lot of folks watching different things here, and always new show, new topic, and new guests. But today we have a little bit of a spin on things. We're going to touch on a world maybe a lot of us may not be too familiar with. And I have a specialist, a naturopath doctor, somebody who uses different angles, for getting people better, to get people better. And her background is also diverse, and she's started in skincare and other things, and there's a story behind that, and we'll talk about it in a minute. And then we're going to get into a deep dive, and she has a real cool thing for us today. So I'm excited. I'm waiting to hear all that. And again, without any further ado, I have with me Diana Drake, and she's going to take us to her journey, to her pitch here, and to her story and what she has to share with us. So Diana, first things first, always welcome to the show. Thank you for the opportunity to be here and to share with us your enlightenment, your insights, and all your knowledge. So let's do this. First thing, please give us a little bit of introduction about yourself and your story.
Thank you, Hurricane. So I am coming to you guys from Colorado. I'm just a little bit south of Denver. So I have a private practice down here where I see people. I specialize in a lot of skin things, acne, eczema. I'm also really big in the endocrine space. So thyroid rejuvenation, hormone rejuvenation, and I do all that stuff without the use of bioidentical hormones or pellets and all that kind of stuff. I do everything naturally. So I've become kind of specialized in that space, but I did start out as an esthetician kind of back in the day. And I really realized early on in my career that people coming to me with really bad skin conditions, like really bad acne and eczema, and help me. I've gone to the dermatologist. I don't know what else to do. And I'm thinking, well, I don't know what to do. So I really made it a point to figure out what are the root causes of these skin conditions. So, with acne, yes, facials are great. Peels are great. All the things that they're selling at all the skincare stores, those things are all great. But the reality is that acne comes from inside. It's an imbalance in the microbiome. It's an overburden of toxins. It's a lymphatic system that's congested. It's hormones that are imbalanced that are causing oil production to not be correct. So over the years, I was really grabbing a lot of different supplement brands off of my own shelf and ordering from all these different vendors. And I thought, you know what, it would be so cool if I just had one brand that did all these things, and then I could actually teach other estheticians how to do this as well. So I created Skin Naturopathics, and it is a full line of step-by-step, month-by-month kits that you will use for acne, eczema, rosacea, perioral dermatitis, and everything is internal. So I don't have any topical skincare in my line. Everything is supplements that you take orally. So that kind of became a huge accomplishment and a really fun thing to be able to not only help my own clients, but help train other estheticians across the country so they can really help people with these big skin issues. So skincare is still a huge piece in my own practice. And then as a naturopath, I also branch out and do all kinds of other things in the endocrine space. And, we have so many women with thyroid disorders right now and hormone disorders. And it's crazy. People are just getting sicker and sicker. And, one of the things I've kind of just been on the circuit talking about around town and on podcasts, such as your wonderful podcast, is the effect of electromagnetic fields on the body. I know that a lot of people are like, oh yeah, I've heard of that. I know what that is, but I wanted to kind of do a deep dive on this topic. How familiar are you with this topic?
It's funny. I just did a TikTok and I had my EMF machine going around devices and measuring EMFs. I did.
Oh my God, I love that. I love
Yeah.
that. That's actually one of the things that in my little talk, I advise people to do. So kind of just an outline of what I want to discuss is I'm going to talk about the Earth's natural pulse electromagnetic field. What does it do? What are the benefits? And then what is interfering with this, which is the electromagnetic fields, or I call it like dirty electricity or electrical smog. Then how to reduce our exposure. And then the health benefits of PEMF therapy. And then if we have time, I also have a really good flu and COVID prevention protocol.
We will have time for that. Definitely.
Okay.
Well, so hold on. So I love, first of all, I mean, thank you. There's a lot of energy here. So I love it. And you got that whole thing going and you love your stuff. But so first, I just want to, for the audiences, you have a great, background here and you do help people get better. and again, skin is a big part of our health. And, most of the people are concerned about the skin. And to your point, we do have a lot of thyroid issues these days, and it even affects men. Some people may not even think that's the case, but there is some of that. There's all kind of things that are, really impactful in this world. And you're touching on a topic that we have been hearing about for years, but we don't know much about. That's I think the paradox here. One, EMFs or electromagnetic field, it's not something that we haven't heard of. I think a lot of people have seen things about, cell phones, don't put a cell phone next to your head, all that stuff. We heard those things, we see them in movies, but understanding it is a whole different world. And I know there's more to it. And the reason I gave the joke about the TikToks is I really ordered a machine, one of those meters, and I went around the house, and every time I go into like one of those, outlets, it gets hotter. I went to my microwave, forget about it. The thing was about to explode. I mean, you go to KitchenAid, it's got to have, it's got even everything. Your what is that? The pad for my alarm system, was big. It just gets red and beep 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 beep, so it goes nuts, right? So it's all over. To your point, the cell phones, you put it next to the cell phone, it gets crazy. TVs, you got them next to the TV. It's all, and those are things that we are every day exposed to. Computers. I mean, from like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 screens. so it's crazy. The amount of energy that's actually coming to me right now, it's not good for my health. but so thank you for actually bringing that today, because it is definitely something that people have talked about, ad hoc, and there's chit chat about it. You can see it on social media every now and then. You have some advocates. There's some conspiracy about it. There's all kind of stuff going on, especially with COVID. I mean, we talked about fluorescent lights and bulbs and all kind of stuff. And we're going to get like, magnetic with these shots. And so there's a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I love that, I could just talk to you for hours. I'll try.
Well, we have an hour and we can do a lot more than that. So don't worry, we can squeeze it as much. And by the way, we're not limited to the hour. If we need a little bit more, we go ahead for it. So no worries. So now let's go. Break it down to us.
Okay, perfect. All right, so I'm going to start with just talking about the Earth. Okay, so our Earth emits certain Schumann frequencies that we call the Earth's pulse magnetic field. So this is what Tesla was studying, and I'm not talking about the car manufacturer, okay, guys? This is the use
the real Tesla.
Yeah, the real Tesla. This is the use of the Earth's actual magnetic field and energy. So, and actually a fun fact, so the Earth is charged by lightning striking its surface. So it's the relationship between the lightning striking and the surface that keeps the Earth charged. It's a really beautiful design. So some of the health benefits of the Earth's natural pulse electromagnetic field are, it recharges the TMP, that's our transmembrane potential. So this is the electric pressure between the inside and the outside of our cell. So this basically has to do with charging our cells. Our cells are like batteries. So they need to be charged and they have to have energy. So the cell membranes can convert the electromagnetic energy from the Earth into other forms of energy in the body. Like just like a plant converts energy from the sun into food and growing, that's what we do. Our bodies do that with the Earth's magnetic field. So it also increases our ATP production in the mitochondria. So this is our cellular combustion of energy. It's also the Krebs cycle, if you've heard of that. So inside of each of our 100 trillion cells, there are 200 to 300 mitochondria. So these turn the food that we eat into energy by converting glucose and fatty acids into high energy electrons that are stored. And then our mitochondria all have their own DNA. So they're basically a cell within a cell. And 90% of our energy comes from the mitochondria. That's a lot. So if we don't have our cells charged properly, that's 90% of our energy that we're not optimally functioning on. Think of how many people are chronic fatigue, addicted to caffeine, too tired to do anything. And everyone always thinks, oh, it's your adrenals. Sometimes it is, but sometimes we're just not completing this Krebs cycle properly. Okay, where am I? So the mitochondria have a rich pool of electrons in their membranes, and then the metabolism of the hydrogen to oxygen produces ATP. That's the Krebs cycle, and that's via the electron transport chain. So it's basically one hydrogen to one oxygen, and it like combusts. Literally, it's the combustion of energy at the cellular space. So the Earth's field enhances also our sodium-potassium pump. So these are the electrolytes that conduct electricity across the cell. So, when you're not feeling good and you take electrolytes, this is because we have to conduct electricity across that membrane. So the Earth's field also increases our cellular pH to make our cells more alkaline. You guys have probably heard of this, acidic versus alkaline, right? So our body operates within a narrow range of 7.25 to 7.35 pH. This is in our blood, okay? So your body will do anything to keep the proper pH level, including stealing minerals from your bones, which would lead to osteoporosis. So if you're too acidic, for example, like remember the old milk does a body good campaign?
We still use that line.
Right. So in reality, milk is incredibly acidic. So what your body now has to do is take minerals out of your bones to keep that proper blood pH. So really, dairy products are, in being so acidic, they actually cause osteoporosis and things that the milk campaign wants us to think it's actually fixing, which is just really funny and also sick. But so we can have a different pH though in our interstitial fluids. So our blood pH is always going to be the same. Body will do anything to keep it, but our body's fluid pH can be different. So that's what would slip into more acidic territory. And you can actually test this. So you can get a pH strip, you can test your urine, you can test your sweat, you can test your saliva, and you can kind of see, are you on the more acidic side or the more alkaline side of the scale? So the Earth's field also improves our oxygen uptake and assimilation into the cells, and it lowers blood viscosity. So think blood thickness. So think about all the people that have, blood pressure problems and all the diabetics. These are all kind of things that affect circulation. So having a healthy blood thickness is so important. It needs to be thinner, right? So that can more easily go places. So the Earth actually makes sure that we have a healthy blood viscosity. I think that's so cool. So so we have main circulation, right, in all of our blood vessels, but then we have microcirculation. So think of the circulation of all the little blood cells that are going into those little hair thin capillaries. If we don't have proper blood viscosity, we're not getting blood to that space, which means there's no fresh oxygen. So our tissue is starving for oxygen, basically. And then finally, the Earth's field creates healthy openings of the cells to improve nutrient transport and elimination. So there's a ton of benefits of just being connected to the Earth, right? But nowadays, what do? We walk on pavement. We live in houses, even rubber shoes. And all of these things block our connection to the Earth's field physically. So we are just completely disconnected. And then on top of the disconnection, there are a lot of the man-made insults to the Earth's natural energy field, which affects how our body works on a cellular level. So I'm just going to expand on all those great things you said. We have power lines, lights in the home, wiring in your home, the microwave, like you said, baby monitors, computers, thermostats. It's the smart appliances now where you can, like they tell you you're out of milk. It's just, these are all things that are adding more and more electric insult. Just having a microwave doesn't hurt you. All these things stacking. One of the biggest problems though is the distance wireless communication, the cell phones, the internet routers, the cell towers. So all of these create an electromagnetic smog that interferes with our body and the Earth's natural electromagnetic field. So these physically weaken the Earth's frequencies and our ability to connect to them. So, as previously illustrated with the list of benefits, we deal with heavy negative side effects of not being connected and from being exposed to the wrong frequencies, including cellular pH is wrong, energy production is low, we can't detoxify, we can't combust energy, the Krebs cycle is affected, we have low circulation, we are literally oxygen deprived in our tissue. So now we all of a sudden have a foundation for a disease process because our bodies are not functioning properly. This is a really big deal. And then we're acidic. So that is
Cancer.
where disease happens.
Yep.
I know I just went through that really fast. Do you have any comments?
No. First of all, that's a lot of information.
A lot of information.
That's pretty powerful stuff. But again, people, it's obviously recorded. People are going to listen to it. They can always replay it a couple of times to catch up.
Yeah. So love that you've already done this. So the next part is, how do we assess the situation? How can we know how bad it is for each of us on an individual basis? Because it's going to be different for everybody depending on where you live and how healthy you are. So number one thing is going to be what you said, which is you can get a little radiation detector. How much was the one that you bought?
30, 40, I'm less than $40 on Amazon. Yeah.
So, yep, you can get it on Amazon. There's a really great website that I like to use. It's called lessemf.com. They literally have paint, they have window coverings, they have canopies for your bed. So you can get your little radiation detector, figure out where the insult is coming from and try to protect yourself, more customized to your living space and your office. So you get the radiation detector, you're going to measure the radiation coming from your devices, as well as any insults that are coming from outside, especially windows, walls. If you live in a high-rise building like in New York, you are absorbing everyone else's EMFs from their routers and phones, et cetera. So, when you go to get on an internet network and all your neighbors' networks are coming up,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, just think of it's like everybody else's electromagnetic fields are affecting you. So just be aware of that. It's not just what's in your own home, but this stuff goes through walls. There's a reason that you have one internet router for a 3-story home, because it goes right through this stuff. That's not going to protect you.
That goes through us too.
It really does. Yeah. It's just microwaves right through us.
Yeah.
So you have to figure out where it's coming from, and then you can really focus on treating those areas. So I kind of have like a list of action steps that you can do right now to help clear your home of the electromagnetic smog. So number one.
Wait, hold on that. Before we get into the steps, I want to just backtrack a little bit and talk about the concept, because you've covered a lot of grounds. I mean, it's pretty deep stuff. I mean, it's really as extreme as it can get, right? And to you, this is like that. This is you. This is what you live for. You're working on it. And a lot of these folks today, they're going to be listening, like, damn, what's going on here? Well, first of all, you just said the key word. The word is Earth. Mother Earth. It is there for us. It was created to cherish us and give us everything we need. Yeah. And you're right. The enemy number one of Earth is humans, unfortunately. And believe it or not, it's been given in movies. There's a lot of talk about how we impact the environment as a whole, from the technology and industry age, the coal mines and everything we have, the nuclear stuff. I mean, you name it, we've done. And a good thing well, not a good thing, but something happened during the pandemic, more recent, and we're going to talk about that later, was the fact that because of a lockdown, even our ozone layer got restructured better. I mean, there was a delay on transmission of all these fumes and things. People were home. There was less, everything bad, and therefore the world kind of like healed a little bit. But you're right. We have, kind of, because of progress and innovation and all this stuff, in that name, we've kind of learned to live in a sheltered world. And to your point, things have changed against us. You talked about alkaline and acidity, and cancer thrives in acidity. and that's, again, one of the reasons we have a lot of it these days. It's not something that we experienced 100 years ago as much as we have today. It's a more recent effect. You said it, we live in an environment, you have towers, cell towers everywhere. and these things are like, you get close and have radioactive, signs around.
Yeah.
I mean, literally this, like, this is danger zone, whatever, there's a radioactive sign, and all this is crazy when you really start thinking about it. I remember back when the computers just were a new thing. And the cell phones, you would put them when the call comes in. There's a phone, is dialing in. You hear like beep, 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 right onto your computer screen, like literally you hear on your audio, because there's a frequency that was actually cutting through when the phone. You can tell when a call is coming when your computer starts talking back to you.
Right.
I don't know if you remember that, but that was like
I don't
something.
remember that. I don't remember that, but I believe you.
It was, and then some people were probably like, "Oh, damn, I remember that." So I used to do it on purpose. I put my phone, and then when a call is ringing, you can hear tick, 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 and then next time your phone is like, ringing here in front of you.
Yeah.
So it's real. And so you mentioned something about different measures to cover all these things, and you're right. There is something else I was looking at. I mean, there's covers for phones. They're literally like what they call Faraday, cage type. For your phone and your devices, so when you're sleeping, you can just cover it, so there's no emission of these things.
Yep.
And these are like little things, but it's available out there and it's real. People don't believe in it. They don't believe in it.
Yeah. Or they don't know about it, but yeah.
Well, now they do. Now we're gonna make sure they do. But really, like, it's important, because all these things that you've talked about are reality, and just for us not talking about it, not dealing with it or facing it sometimes, that is wrong. I mean, we need to know, and we have to make decisions. Some of us will be like, whatever, that's too much, that's too extreme.
Yeah.
Some, again, your world is nature. You deal with everything that's natural, right? And some people may like, well, I like my lifestyle the way it is, which is okay. I mean, at the end of the day, nobody's going to force anyone to do anything if they don't want it, right? Or they don't like it. But the reality is, we need to know that things are here, and they are dangerous, and there are ways to fix them.
And it's getting worse. People need to understand this. Now 5G, there's going to be 6G, there's going to be, this is getting worse and worse and worse. So people need to understand, yes, you have to do something, okay? Because it's just going to keep getting worse. So, and I think a lot of people are like, oh, I don't really know what to do, or they know one thing, like the Faraday bag, or, the EMF stickers. So I kind of just put together this like easy to do list that people can pick and choose what's the most convenient for them. But even if you guys can do a few things on this list, it would be significant. So one of the easiest things you can do is you can switch out your light bulbs to broad spectrum incandescent and LED. You want to get rid of that compact fluorescent. They're toxic and they emit a very dirty, unhealthy type of electricity. You want to minimize your cell phone use. You want to utilize airplane mode as much as possible, especially when, when I'm at a concert or something and I see all these teenagers with their phones in their bra and their phones in their pockets, like right next to their
heart,
reproductive organs. No, guys.
Well, oh yeah.
No.
Yeah.
So, put it in airplane mode if it's going to be on your body. Sleep. If at night, I put it in a Faraday bag, just like you're saying, or if it's in my purse, it's in a Faraday bag. And so you guys know, you can just put into Amazon EMF blocking pouch or Faraday bag. It's just a pouch that stops the phone from getting a signal. So that's an easy thing you can do.
People make their own.
Yeah. Make your own, put it in tinfoil.
I know. Well, you need more than just tinfoil, but it works. Actually, there's YouTube videos for that too.
And some people, and I have clients that are nurses or doctors, and they're like, well, what do I do if I get an emergency call in the night or my kid calls? Okay, if you have to keep your phone on and it can't be in airplane mode, don't keep it by your head on your nightstand. Put it in the bathroom, put it in the hall, and turn up the ringer. So you're not at least frying yourself all night long.
I have another one to add to that,
yes,
which is something that people have forgotten about: landlines. And by the way, it sounds really archaic, but if there is an EMF or like EMP, not an EMF, which could be with the solar flare, and we've had those problems every now and then, you might not be able to use your cell phone. That's Therefore, right. A landline is only the thing that's going to work because it's different, right? And when we had, for example, in New York, we had Sandy a couple of years back, and it was blackout for a long time, no electricity. Yeah. Landlines worked, cell phones didn't.
Yeah, and if you do have a landline, you want to make sure that it's you don't want a cordless phone. It's got to be wired.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, listen.
Cordless phones are dirty too. It's just like putting a cell phone to your head.
Well, true. What the reason I said that is that it's not expensive to maintain. As a matter of fact, if you have a cable or some sort of a service, like it comes in as a a package, and it's like $10 whatever a month. So it's not expensive, but it's worth to have for emergencies and things like that. So again, I'm just saying,
Yeah.
people may have forgotten that those things do exist.
Yeah.
Like, it's funny. I was watching, it was a movie or something, and there was a comment like, "Oh my God, they got a landline." I'm like, okay, landlines are nothing. There's nothing wrong with them.
Nothing wrong with them. Okay, let's throw
Yeah.
back. Throwbacks are good. Everything's coming back. Tie-dye is coming back. Let's bring back rotary phones while we're at it.
They do exist still, but as gifts.
Yeah, exactly. So another thing you can do is you can turn off your Wi-Fi router when it's not in use. I even have people that connect it to a switch on the wall. So when it's time for Wi-Fi to be done, you just hit the switch.
I like that.
That's great to do like during family dinner. You don't need your iPads and your stuff at the table. Just like turn off the Wi-Fi. Okay.
So Diane, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
sorry.
that's
One thing. But here's the thing though. You're talking about like lifestyle change right now.
Yeah.
This is, and we'll talk about, so let's hold that, finish up your line, but then let's talk about the lifestyle change, because you're asking for people to really sacrifice things that they got accustomed to. So let's talk about that once we finish the list.
Yeah, for sure. You guys want to avoid smart appliances. Okay. So anything that talks to an app or has an interactive screen instead of just a button, you don't need it. You don't need your washing machine to tell your phone app that it's finished. Don't be lazy. Okay. Just get a regular washing machine. Okay, this is a big one, you guys. Baby monitors. These poor little babies that aren't even developed yet are getting hit with all these EMFs. Baby monitors are really, really toxic with their specific frequencies. So if you can, you want to use one that's not cordless, or there are ones that only turn on if the baby makes noise. So it mitigates it a little bit, but just be sensitive to that. These little babies aren't developed. These waves are going right through their whole body, their head, their skull. It's really, really unhealthy. We want to avoid electric beds. Okay, so I know this is really popular, like having a remote control bed that like sits up and does all these things, or maybe it heats or massages or whatever. You do not want to sleep on anything electrical, you guys. Even if it's not on or moving, there is a frequency plugged into the wall that's running through that bed that is just microwaving you all night long. Electric blankets, electric heating pads, even alarm clocks. Just think electricity, get it away from me. Also, fun fact, your alarm will still work on your phone if it's in a Faraday bag. So if your phone is in airplane mode and in a Faraday bag, your alarm will still go off properly. Everyone's always scared about that one. Okay, this one takes a little bit more work, but I think it's important. You can find out how close you are to a cell phone tower, and then the next time you happen to move, maybe make a conscious decision to be as far away from one as possible. And okay, this is also a little bit more work, but you can opt out of the smart meter installation now from the power company, where it can potentially, there's power saving things and it communicates with the power company. I'm not exactly sure what it does, but I do know it's an extra installation that they put on your meters that is talking to them and communicating with the house, that we don't necessarily need that. So, and then again, on the lessemf.com website or on Amazon or the World Wide Web, wherever you want to get it, you can get bed canopies, window treatments, EMF blocking paint. Even like if you figure out that your whole wall facing a cell phone tower is just like beaming radiation, you can paint with EMF paint. It's probably just one color, and then you would put whatever color you want over it and just completely block that insole, and then do a curtain that's EMF blocking. So there's lots of fun stuff you can do. So you just pretty much, you can customize your home to deal with specific threats. But the biggest thing that you can do, guys, is invest in a PEMF device. Okay, so I'm talking about pulsed electromagnetic field device. And basically this simulates the same human frequencies that are emitted from the earth. So there's, I like it in a mat form. So you just can lay on it. You could have it in your bed. You could have it at your office. It's just, you lay on it 3 times a day for 7 minutes. There's all kinds of different brands. You've probably heard of the Beamer, the QRS. I guarantee if you go on Facebook and say, hey, does anybody sell PEMF devices? You'll find someone that's a rep for one of these companies. But there's a lot of big players in this space. It is an investment. It's, $3,500 to $5K for a good mat. But the whole family can use it. You can use it for the rest of your life. And the benefits are so incredible. You're just giving yourself that earth field. You're fixing all those things that we talked about earlier. And it really resets the body and the brain back to the natural earth frequencies. It cleanses discordant and static electrical buildup. Ugh. And then when the blood is cleansed of these bad frequencies, it becomes oxygenated and returned to a healthy status. So meaning under the wrong or polluted frequencies or the smog, our blood actually clumps together. This is one of the problems with COVID too. So then it loses its charge and it can't bind with oxygen properly. So this clumping makes it difficult for the red blood cells to pass into the capillaries where the nutrients and oxygen are released. So where we're starving ourselves of oxygen, living and just walking around innocently, the PEMF mat corrects this. Also, you're right, cancer is an issue with pH, and it's also an oxygen deficiency disease. If your cells are oxygenated, which is an antioxidant, they can correct things that are wrong. So if we are oxygenated and we don't have this deficiency, we don't have all these diseases going on. So generally, radiation leads to damage in the thyroid also, which I think is, most women are going to experience thyroid issues at some point. So if we can make sure that all these tissues in the endocrine system are healthy and that we're dealing with all these EMFs, I think we're just positioning ourselves just in a much better spot with dealing with it before it happens, because it's expensive to fix this stuff once it goes down, believe me.
Well, once you're sick, it's too late, right? I mean, it's a problem, and most of these diseases, you might not have a cure for them today. So,
exactly.
Or the cure is also damaging. I mean, in case of cancer, it's chemo or radiation therapy, you get into the same thing.
And people tell me all the time, what's the number one preventative thing I can do? The preventative medicine. I said, get a PEMF mat.
People buy a lot of things, and I'm no judgment here, but people buy purses that cost a lot more than that.
They come in with $1,000 iPhones and their kids are on $1,000 iPads.
That's right. It's amazing. But again, priorities. Well, so some people, again, let's are you done with the list?
I'm done with the list.
All right, good. So let's talk about all that now in the context of, let's make it real, right, for people so that they can at least understand it. First of all, the danger is real. We got this. There's no one that can deny this. Even if they wanted to, they can test it themselves. And believe me, when you test, like you see it, you hear about it is one thing. When you see it in front of your eyes, and I give you a joke. I went to my coffee machine, my toaster, and they all had high frequencies, which was like completely like, my outlets. I mean, just the regular outlets on the walls. They had a high frequency. You walk by them, beep, 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 it goes up crazy. It's like all red, stuff. So it's all over. And you're right. Everywhere around the house, you have that from the top to the bottom to the side. So you're really surrounded. You're talking about an EMF cage. And I don't think that I'm the only one. Everybody, if you just have to walk around and you'll see it, you will know. Yeah. But you've given a lot of good advice, a lot of different tools that people can do and or get. Some of them are cheaper, some of them are, are not. Also, we discuss deprivation or change of lifestyle. Now, a good example, when we're talking about cell phones, put them in a Faraday, bag and put them away, take them to the other room. Some people are attached to these things now. You're talking about people putting them in their, close to the chest or whatever in their pockets. That is like, that's where there's nowhere else to put, they put them there. We're not realizing what we're doing because we don't see. If this was visual, if actually we can see it, I guarantee you people would be like, you'd be like,
you saw red radiating from a phone.
Exactly. I mean, imagine if everything like around you is like, there's like waves all over. It's like, laser beams.
Get away from me. Yes.
Yeah. It would be crazy. But so now let's talk about that. We're talking about how to almost change the lifestyle that we have and protect it. But there's other things. I mean, people can also do, you can walk to a park and just, sit down in the park, a little bit longer.
Yeah, take off your shoes and, it's called earthing, where you're just walking on the earth. Unfortunately,
I do that.
You have to do that like every single day. You have to do it in order to get the connection with the earth if you really want the health benefits. So it's not only about taking out the insult, but we have to replenish the missing field from the earth. So it's a twofold thing to really, really grasp it. but it's
Thank you for
tasty.
it is, right? I mean, well, again, I think the problem also people these days, I would say the majority of people do not do outdoors anymore.
Right.
That's a lost art. I mean, there are a few people that understand it and they do it. You find them in the woods, doing camping and stuff, but not everybody's doing that these days.
Right.
Like especially the young generation. Oh my God, I'm gonna go to the woods.
No. And
You know,
even if
there's
you're wearing hiking boots and rubber shoes, you're not getting the PEMF.
well, yeah, but you get to by a lake, you take your shoes off, you can do stuff. But
Yeah.
but at least it's you're around nature. At night, you take your shoes off, you're still actually on the ground.
Right.
There's no rubber, and it's a little different.
Mhm.
Oxygen, right? You talked about oxygenating the body, right?
Mhm.
Anything with oxygen, ozone. I think those two are killers from anything else. I mean, anything with like I have actually I've had a great dentist, and all his treatment is ozone only.
Yes.
He's literally an ozone. Like everything he does is through ozone.
Oh, yes.
You're getting your stuff done. You have ozone in your nose. I mean, that's what you're and that's a whole different level of.
Oh my gosh, yes. I'm so into the holistic dentistry, and yes, I'm
Yeah. He is a big guy with that. So it is happening out there. It's available. Not everything is expensive, and again, priority is a key. Sometimes we do need to invest, and some of it is not expensive. Like you said, you can move your cell phone to the other room.
Or
No
just
big deal.
these little stickers I forgot to say. You can put these little stickers on your devices.
Ah,
They're great. They're like
And-
20 bucks for a pack of 5, and they just reduce the EMF radiation.
say that one more time. You
Oh,
put the sticker on, and they reduce the
they
radiation.
just reduce the EMF radiation. Yeah, inexpensive.
Okay, I need one. I need a few. Okay, well, listen, there you have it. I mean, we can do that. I mean, again, these are little things, and you're right. Because we're not sick sometimes, because we haven't experienced it, we don't think it can happen to us, but it happened to other people, and it can happen to any one of us. And unfortunately, no one is, I guess, no one is going to be sheltered from this. Eventually, somebody in your family or somebody may have a problem that is probably occurring because of all these changes.
The question is, are you working with a practitioner or a doctor that's going to recognize that this could potentially be a root cause of something,
That's a great question.
That's, you could go in and just say, oh, I'm so tired all the time. I'm
Well,
energy, blah, blah, blah. But it's like, is someone actually going to be like, I wonder if they're getting too much exposure to EMFs?
Yeah, to be honest with you, I have not seen anyone asking about that question anywhere that I know.
So
It's a
in
bit.
practice, I make sure and analyze that, and I actually use a really cool hand scanner. It's called a Zyto. You can probably find a practitioner they're all over the country. So I guarantee wherever you're listening to this from, you can find someone that has a Zyto in your city or town. But it actually analyzes how much electromagnetic field stress is in your body. So I do that on everybody that walks in, so I can see. And sometimes it'll be so detailed, it'll say power lines or a cell phone tower, just like knowing what kind of threat it is. So when people
Seriously,
they're really off balance in the EMF department, we have to have the whole EMF speech that you just got.
well, that's like literally, it actually reads it and tells you like where the exposure came from.
It can detect foreign frequencies in the body, and that's all that it is. It's it's energy. Computers can measure all that kind of stuff.
Wow.
Mhm. Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Your mind blown.
It is. I mean, I love the concept that it exists. At least you can read it out and figure out where your problem is. Because you're right, we might be exposed to something we don't even know. Maybe not at home, maybe at work. Because that's the other part. And something happened. I mean, a couple of years back in my area, they wanted to I think one of the telecoms company wanted to put a tower in the area, and it was a big community discussion because they wanted to be, because it was closer to a high school, and eventually they did. I mean, it's literally about
you're not going to stop it.
Yeah, no, it did. It went up. It's literally from my house, maybe about 300 yards, 400 yards, out, and it's right by, a high school, and it's pretty, in front of your eyes. And it's funny because when you drive in some places, they have palm trees coming out of them. They camouflage those things. They look like part of nature, but they're not.
Yeah, the fake,
The fake, yeah. The fake leaves.
Camouflage one.
They're camouflaged now. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, it rhymes along nicely. It fits in nicely in the scenery, but it's not. It's really not as healthy as you think. But it is an issue, I think, that we needed to bring to the audiences here. I think you have delivered the why, the where, and the how, and what we can do to change things. But now it's just about, again, education. People need to do more of that. People need to do more research, or at least be exposed to it. I don't know if there are enough programs on TV that actually talk about this.
Oh,
I,
yeah.
I have not seen any. I've seen movies that try to tackle these issues that, in a very sci-fi or even comedic way, but
Right.
far in between, and and even it's there, but people don't pay no mind to it. A lot of people watch movies and they don't even read the message, but
I
it
mean,
is.
it's just not something that these big telecommunication companies want us to know, right? They
Well,
want
like everything else, right? Milk, industry, food. I mean, it's amazing because we live in a world that is all about money making, but we forget that it's affecting everything else. And that's the same thing with the topic of the environment,
yeah.
the war, the global warming. A lot of people are refusing it's real, but people say it doesn't exist. It's just a
But
hoax,
also,
whatever.
this is our own fault. If everyone just said, you know what, no more cell phone, but that's not going to happen. So we are the ones feeding the beast. Because as the technology pushes forward, we keep grabbing for it. And we say, oh, we don't want 5G, we don't want all this, but we're not willing to give up this.
But that's why it's a lifestyle. These are addiction. I mean, actually, psychologically speaking, this is what the second addiction now, which is phones and social media and being online.
Mhm.
The internet. It's like you can't get rid of it. TikTok, forget about it.
Oh, yeah, forget about
Once you start, it's over. You're like there for hours. You can literally be there for like hours and not even know it. It's amazing. And now, like my kids, they cannot literally disconnect.
I know.
So you talked about, taking these things off, at night away. They can. They're literally. I mean, this is like a phenomena that is driving me nuts. The kids, especially during the pandemic, they almost connected online. That was their lifestyle because they could not get outside, to schools, whatever. So they would sleep with their phones on. Everybody's like, there's like almost a room that is active where people come in and come out. Some are sleeping, some are talking, and it was just like a live feed of a Zoom that everybody was on, and everybody goes in and off, like it's like a chat box, and they're just in and out. And they sleep through it. They wake up in the morning. They're still there. Some people out. It was like, you don't disconnect. What's wrong?
Like what's happening with the Facebook metaverse. Are you aware of this?
Of course, I'm actually into that stuff. So I I look into all of it.
So
But metaverse is going to do that.
Eventually, yeah, it's just going to be and you can interact as an avatar, instead of yourself. It's just.
Well, there were a few movies that covered that. Gamer, I think, Player One, that was one of them. There was another one, which was I think Surrogates with like Bruce Willis. I think it was a few years back.
Yes. Uh-huh.
This is like something that we've seen in the movies and we've seen in sci-fi. Yeah. It's real, and it's real. It's virtual reality, but it's interactive. Mm-hmm. It's the same thing as being in a chat room or a group and just being live. Now you're just gonna be live with your avatar and experiencing everything around you in a virtual world, which. It's cool. It's fascinating. But if we get addicted to it, in those movies, what happened? These people did not live anymore. They actually just sat down and they enjoyed their life through their virtual personality, which is amazing. In that movie that I mentioned, the idea at the end, they realized that the world was different, and they came out for the first time in a long time, and we're like, wow.
Yeah, what happened?
Yeah, the world exists. It's actually real. You can touch the ground. You can do things. But there was also another movie that came up now. With Ryan Reynolds, guy something.
Oh, were you talking about Free Guy?
Free Guy. That's it.
I couldn't finish it. It was not.
Yeah, it was not the hardest thing, but it's the same concept where it's it's the same. It's real. It's happening. It's the future, but we just need to know how to adapt to it correctly and not leave our roots. We are attached to earth.
Yeah. So. And the problem is with kids and this addiction, this is going to cause more depression and suicide, and it's not going to be good.
Oh, it has. And even, again, we were talking with one of the psychiatrists on the show, And again, it's all about your brain chemistry, and being on the phone is not the same as being in person. It doesn't substitute being in front of people, touching things, feeling things for real, as opposed to virtual. Virtual doesn't give you the same stimulus to your brain. Therefore, your chemicals are not the same, and they don't apply and affect you the same way. So your reactions are going to be totally off. It's really like, something that we have to be aware of. We need to actually talk about it.
And also, for all the teenagers with acne, looking at this screen all day and getting the negative blue light that's not good for you, this affects the microbiome on your face. This is not good for acne, by the way. This will exacerbate the acne situation. Just FYI, guys.
Well, thank you for that. And actually, blue rays, you mentioned blue rays. That's another nightmare. I mean, we have them all the time. I mean, it's as easy as this. There are a lot of, cheap, glasses that you can have to protect your eyes too. I mean, and they're,
like a whole shield.
You have the shield. They do have those, but again, I mean, I use this for purposes.
I should get one.
What, the shield?
I should get the full shield. Yeah.
They do. Do you have it?
I know. I'm gonna get it.
Oh, you're gonna get it. I thought you said I had it. Yeah, listen, it's amazing, but it's really a big difference. And I know, because there was a time my eyes, I couldn't even, look at TV anymore, or
it's non-natural.
Yeah. And then when I started using those, I mean, it almost helped a lot, and I don't have the pain and stuff that I did have before. So listen, there is technology, and there is, I guess, resources, there's tools that you can apply to adapt.
Yeah.
But again, the problem that we're going to have is the social aspect of this. You're telling people to change their lifestyle now. That's what I said earlier. And, it's going to be, for people listening to this, to really adapt and kind of adjust. It's an awakening. It's like, well, you have to make, like you said, shut down the Wi-Fi. Well, hello, you can't shut down the Wi-Fi because they sleep with that thing. They sleep with the internet on, or music or whatever. So therefore now, it's like the Wi-Fi is their source of everything, the connection. The joke is, we had a blackout a couple of months ago in my area. Is like a thunderstorm, so we lost power, and all of a sudden Wi-Fi is gone. The phones had maybe a quarter left in their charge. About 10 minutes later, the kids are sitting in front of me. Hey, let's play card games and board games and stuff like
we grew up.
Exactly. Like, oh, now you're socializing with us. Now there is no more technology. Now you come to the basics. Let's just play some fun Monopoly, whatever. And it's amazing, but we don't realize that until we lose it. Until because we're so conditioned to this now. Like, this is like the standard.
Yeah, I think parents need to be incredibly more aware of screen time with their kids. And I know it's hard if you're like, okay, my kid's only going to get 2 hours of iPad time, and you try to take it away and they throw a fit. You're just like, what am I going to do? But they should not be having iPads and being on them all the time. It's ridiculous. Your child should sit with you at a dinner table, whether you're at your house or at a restaurant. And if they want to cry about it, you can go sit them in the car. Guys, you got to remember, you're the boss. Okay. When it comes to this technology, you have to be the boss, and you have to protect them, because it's affecting their brains.
I threaten my kids by shutting the connection for their phone. I have the master phone. I can literally just switch the data off, and then, oh, don't do it. Okay, then you gotta follow the rules. But it doesn't. It works temporary. That's the thing. And then you feel bad, and then you like give in, and it's a constant struggle. Just like teenagers are the worst.
Yes, totally. Okay, so if we have time, I want to go over a COVID protocol with you guys, and then I do have one more client for the day that's going to walk in any second.
Okay, well, let's do that. Let's do the COVID.
Yes. Okay, so this protocol, I just want to give a shout out to Dr. Artis. He is the one kind of promoting it, but this is kind of a general protocol of supplements that everyone can take every day. This is a COVID, flu, and cold prevention protocol that will keep your immune system where it needs to be by addressing serious deficiencies in the body that we actually all have. Okay, these are the adult doses. Grab a pen and paper, everybody. Yes. So if you can get yourself to 10,000 milligrams a day of vitamin C, you want to start at 5,000 milligrams. So this is a lot. So people say to me, oh, I already take vitamin C. And I say, well, what brand is it? How many are you taking? And I realize they're only taking 1,000 milligrams a day. I'm saying 10,000 milligrams a day of vitamin C. Start with 5,000, work your way up by 1,000 milligrams a week until you get to 10,000. If you get diarrhea at any point, this just means you've reached your gut threshold. Just back it off a little bit. And then you'll see over time, as you really replenish your body, you need less and less and less. But just keep yourself pushed as high as you can. And this is just all that we just need to do this all the time. So prevent us from getting sick. This keeps up the immune system. We just will not ever get this from food. So we have to supplement with this. Okay, magnesium, 500 milligrams a day, every day. Selenium, you want 200 micrograms, that's mcg a day. And then we've got vitamin D, start at 5,000, get yourself up to 10,000. You want zinc at 100 milligrams a day. And then just a couple extra tips. If anybody is dealing with any sort of heart disease, methylated B vitamins are amazing. These reverse heart disease along with a million other benefits. Also, ashwagandha at night, guys, is amazing. If you have stress, elevated cortisol levels, trouble sleeping, like if you have a busy brain at night, especially if you're coming off of watching TV or working a lot, ashwagandha is really, really great. And then as far as if you come down with COVID, I know there's so much discussion on the ivermectin and the hydrochloroquine. I want to explain to people why these drugs work, because there seems to be a lot of debate and confusion as to why we would use an antiparasitic drug on a flu. So both of these drugs are from a family of drugs called zinc ionophores. That means that once they're in your body, they open the cell and flood it with zinc and allow that transaction to happen. When we have the zinc in the cell at this level, we cannot reproduce the virus, which means no more symptoms and no spreading it. So that is why those two drugs work. If you cannot get hydrochloroquine or ivermectin, you can actually take wormwood. So wormwood is what ivermectin is made of originally. So wormwood is just an antiparasitic plant. And, you know, about 80% of pharmaceutical drugs are made from something in nature that they isolated, replicated in a lab, and then got a patent on it. So wormwood is literally just pure ivermectin, okay? So if you need ivermectin and you cannot get it, you can take a high dose of wormwood. If you are sick, you don't want to do this long-term or preventative. You would only want to do it if you get sick. And then hydrochloroquine is actually an isolate of quercetin. So you can take 1,000 milligrams of quercetin a day, and that gets you to the same as a daily dose of the hydrochloroquine, which is really cool. Also, people ask me all the time, okay, I understand that, but do you know where I can actually get those drugs? And yes, I do. You can visit synergyhealthdpc.com, and you can actually Skype with a doctor. So it's a virtual doctor's appointment. And they will actually send you from their compound pharmacy ivermectin and or hydroxychloroquine. So you don't have to worry about having the prescription and not knowing where to fill it. So these guys will take care of you there. And you can also get ivermectin straight from India at alldaychemist.com. You can buy as much as you want, have a party.
Well, thank you. I mean, that I know those are like hot topics, and there was a lot of debate over the last year between, you know, the treatments that are prescribed with doctors and the hospitals, you know, anti these things. And, you know, it was just a long debate, and it's still there. I don't think it's going to go anywhere as long as COVID exists. And probably if anything else comes up, they'll still come up in discussion.
Yes.
So I appreciate the fact that you give us not only the actual exact measures that we need to have daily on to really maintain and stay healthy and ahead, but also where we can get them.
Yeah, people just are not taking enough. People are taking the D and the zinc and the C, and it's not enough. If you really want to make an impact, you have to flood the body.
Well, 10,000 is pretty, you know, daily. That's a lot. I mean,
It's a lot.
And but again, this could be anything. Well, they have to be the right ones because there's different brands. But certainly, it doesn't have to be prescription. This could be, you know, just ordered, as you said, through the site, and that's about it. Or maybe out in some health stores.
Yeah, exactly. So with vitamin C, if you're taking a whole food vitamin C, you're going to really have to take a lot of capsules. But if you just take ascorbic acid, you can get a nice powdered vitamin C that you would just mix with water, and you can do 2 teaspoons a day and you'll hit your 10K. So it just depends the dosing on the package. So just, just got to find the
Good
right
thing I asked.
yeah, exactly. And
Yeah.
I'm happy to send, I have this whole protocol written out with links to where you can buy everything at the high doses so that you can take the least amount of volume. So if anyone just wants to go on my website, dmdnaturalmedicine.com, you can email me. You can just click the contact form and just say, hey, I heard you on the podcast. Can you send me the COVID protocol? And I will create an account for you with my online dispensary. It's called Full Script. So you can just have access to all of those supplements whenever you need it. It's your account forever. You can be in there and take whatever you want whenever you need.
Well, I will have the description of what you just mentioned on.
Okay.
I'll have the links in the description of the show, so everybody will have access to it. Online or on even on the podcast, so they'll have it.
Yes, I love that. Yes, thank you.
Well, listen, I mean, I know you have your client coming up, and I appreciate the time that we had. There's a lot of good stuff we covered in less than an hour.
Talk to you for hours and hours. So I would love to come on again and we can deep dive on something else. I want to do a deep dive on heavy metal toxicity, which is another huge issue that people need to know about.
Deal. You're done.
So
That's it.
come back on and talk
I'm
about
gonna send you a link for the next one.
Okay, awesome. I appreciate that.
All right, you got it. Well, listen, thank you for everything you do, for all the
Thank you
good
so
stuff
much.
that you give
Thanks
us here.
for having me. Yes.
You're welcome.
All right. Have a good night. Thanks, Hurricane.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Okay,
Folks,
bye-bye.
folks, thank you for watching and for listening in. We'll be back with a different guest, different topic, different show. Bye for now.